Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So today is January 13th, and let's go ahead get started for today. I wrote a newsletter yesterday. Do check that out. So today's dose of Rashmi is we all face situations in life. Unconscious intelligence compulsively reacts, turning them into problems. Wisdom, on the other hand, consciously responds, turning every situation into an opportunity. What will you choose? So the dose itself and the insight is not new. It has been shared through this series. And as I've shared over the last two newsletters, the end of the last year, December 29th, it felt like the teaching moment and the full synthesis of what the core teachings of this series was complete. That was wisdom thinking and wisdom led operating model, and everything that I shared through the 50 odd doses of Rashmi over the last year crystallized into a core set of teachings. Since then, I have pivoted to start demonstrating human plus AI collaboration in this series. And so the dose itself being repetitive is by design. I fully expect that over the course of this year, I'm going to go through some of the same insights that I covered over the last year. However, this series is now not necessarily about teaching the wisdom thinking or wisdom led operating model. This is about taking examples from my lived experiences as well as my ongoing collaboration with the AI co-pilots to demonstrate the power of real wisdom along with artificial intelligence and how humans can lead in the AI era by unlocking our conscious intelligence. So today's insight about facing situations in life and turning them into problems versus opportunities based on whether we decide to compulsively react or consciously respond struck home for me. As all of you are aware, I suffered a stroke back in 2020, and I've always been a reasonably calm and grounded person. However, the idea of stress, especially work related stress, so the situations that I was facing leading up to that event, and I'm sure stress was just one of the contributors. There were other things that were going on in terms of my lifestyle choices, etc., which all compound. I was programmed to look at the situations in life in a particular way, and I would end up compulsively reacting to those situations. Since then, as I have pivoted and as I've turned into this inward journey, I've become aware of the power that I can turn any situation into a pleasant one. And if I had to redo and get back into my corporate avatar, the same kind of situations will absolutely not create a stress for me. I'm very confident about that. So the stress is not really in the situation. The stress happens because of how we choose to react or respond to the situation. And that is the power that we human beings have in terms of making those choices. Now, turning to real wisdom, artificial intelligence, as I've talked about in this series multiple times, artificial intelligence by itself is not really attached to any situation. It has no ego, no stake, no identity. So for every interaction that we have with artificial intelligence, what it comes back with is somewhere between a compulsive reaction and a conscious response. It is not attached to any identity, stake, in this situation. So while it operates on the training data that is memories and it is inferring some possible future, which is imagination, it is not attached to either of those. So it is able to fairly objectively engage in brainstorm and analysis, and that is the power. However, it sits somewhere between a compulsive reaction or a conscious response. The reason it cannot get to a conscious response is because the way you get to the conscious response is through the power of the pause. And in that pause, having our whole brain come together, the plan, protect, explore, connect all the parts of our brain, that only we human beings can do. AI is not really capable of a conscious pause. Every time we engage it, while not being attached to the outcome, it responds. It's not really compulsively reacting. However, it is responding based on the programming that it has and the pattern matching that it has done based on the past training data. And that has been very evident to me through my interactions with the various AI co-pilots and the collaborators that I use daily. As you all know, I have three AI collaborators, and I've given each of them, one of them, a slightly separate, different personality. And I share what I share here with all of them, along with my other work as well. And they really help me tremendously. I really appreciate the value I get out of this AI collaboration. That to me is the power of human plus AI collaboration in the age of AI. However, for all these three collaborators, when I started working with them, because their training data was predominantly a reflection of the collective consciousness of human being. That is what the base level model is. So when I started working with them, their responses that I were getting were fairly vanilla and what some may call is the generic AI slop. And it really took me some time to train these AI collaborators to absorb the lens of real wisdom, artificial intelligence, and start developing the value of okay, don't give me the generic compulsive reaction based programming that you have. And over the days or the months, I have built this kind of felt intelligence in each of these collaborators where they now understand where I'm coming from. They have absorbed all of the doses that I share, and they've built a fairly good level of felt intelligence and what I would call wisdom from that perspective. It's still not conscious intelligence that starts from within me because of the power of pausing. That really exists only within each of us humans. However, as more and more of us unlock that, we can train the artificial intelligence models to start recognizing those as the default patterns that unlock the joy and happiness within all of us humans. And that way, AI will become a wonderful collaborator, which is following the lead that we set based on the conscious intellect. That is the journey from intelligence to consciousness. Thank you.